Any content provided by our bloggers or authors are of their opinion and are not intended to malign any religion, ethnic group, club, organization, company, municipality, individual, or anyone or anything.
He's a surgeon. He's a 100-ton boat captain. He's a lieutenant on Seaside Heights Beach Patrol in New Jersey. He's a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary. He's Dr. Michael Kachmar. Need answers to your medical questions? We have them. Listen in to hear latest on medical topics related to all that and more.
Mel Gibson.
Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Michael Kachmar. Welcome to Lifeguarding, off-duty lifeguards. Lifeguards off duty with Dr. Michael Kachmar. We're on duty. We're off duty. We're you know what it's though? We're always on duty, 24 hours a day. That's how it used to be. All right. Even in January, if there's a rescue to be made, we're gonna make it.
We watch water, baby.
We watch water. So
that movie, the actor was Daniel Day-Lewis.
Daniel Day-Lewis. So anyway, I'm Dr. Michael Kachmar. I'm a board-certified reconstructive foot and ankle surgeon / lifeguard. Today's date is September 4th, the year of our Lord 2022. We have in our studio today we have Tyler with a beautiful. I love that shirt. You're going to talk about that.
Sean, when we were running down the boardwalk,
yeah,
like I was like looking at the ocean, and part of me was like, I would go if I needed to right now.
Right. So you're going to talk about your half marathon, and we have Sean. Sean, how are you?
Did you see the guy surfing while we were doing
No,
it? There was a dude surfing.
I was too busy suffering, to be honest.
There's a dude surfing in that. It was like all chopped, but like he was out there. He was living.
Yeah, well, the ocean was big.
For those who don't know, Sean and I ran our first half marathon on Sunday.
In the when Hurricane Ian was starting to hit New Jersey.
So for people who don't know what a half marathon, what's the distance?
13.1.
Okay.
Miles.
I almost
9 inches.
My girlfriend.
And 9 inches.
My girlfriend wanted to get tattoos on Saturday.
Oh my God!
And I was playing around with the idea of getting 13.1 tattooed on me before I ran the race.
No, don't do that. No.
First of all,
first of all, I'm going to just tell you, don't get any tattoos without thinking long and hard. Especially, don't get anybody's name on it.
I have a couple that I woke up that morning and decided
what's your tattoo about? I've seen it.
Oh, the bird.
I get that in college. It's a long story. But again, there was alcohol involved.
Of course there was.
Yeah, I got that in 1978, 79.
It's pretty on brand for you.
Yeah,
it's cool.
It's
is it a hawk or an eagle?
If you really want to hear the real story, I shouldn't even say it, but I don't care anymore. I'm old enough where it doesn't matter. When I was a kid, back in the day, we all had this great idea to give ourselves tattoos. You know, my buddies. I lived up in the city, so I was running with a rough crowd. We were a rough crowd. I went to a Catholic school, but we decided. So we had this stupid. This is back in the 60s. Anyway, we decided to get tattoos. You take a needle and you take this Indian ink. And anyway, I had this put it on my arm. It looked like crap. And my father lost his mind.
Is it the one that we see now?
No.
What was
so I had
the
this
original?
So I used to go hunting with my uncle, believe it or not. And back in the day, I had a truck when I turned 17, and I had a pickup truck, and we'd bring the shotguns, and I had a rifle, a 30-06. You could drive around in those days. There was no permits or anything, and we used to go hunting up to a cabin my uncle had up in Pennsylvania. So I'd have the shotgun and the rifle in my truck, and then we used to go shoot down a place. So I had a shotgun. I'd take some of my friends with me, and we practice, so I got a nickname, Shotgun. That was my nickname.
Your friends called you Shotgun?
Yeah, Shotgun. Everybody, back in the day, you got to understand, you guys lived in the wrong time. Everybody had a nickname back in the day. And there's still parts of the world.
Have nicknames now.
Yeah, but everybody. Look, when I worked on the beach patrol.
No one's called Shotgun.
When I worked initially in the beach patrol, I was called Sam Elliott. That movie that came out.
Lifeguard.
Yeah, so everybody had a nickname. And anyway, so getting back to tattoo. Shotgun, we tried to put that on. We got about SH,
Wow. I was envisioning you trying to draw a shotgun.
No. And it just, that was the end of it. So I had this stupid thing on my arm.
So wait, you only had SH?
Yeah, it looked like shit, It actually looked like the word shit, and it looked like shit. So there was no way to deal with it back in the day. There was no lasers or, surgery. And my father lost his mind, but that's another whole, thing. He wasn't happy about it. Maybe it was my mother. And I was probably grounded for like a year.
I can only imagine.
I mean, it was done. And I didn't hang out with those guys anymore for a long time.
Shit is a pretty bad tattoo.
So when I was in college, I was
It's a pretty shitty
I was with actually Sam Britton one night. And
was he at your wedding?
Yeah. Sam it looks like Colonel Sanders. And we decided,
know
and
who
so
you're
what,
talking about.
what somebody was
I
mentioning.
know exactly who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
we were talking about it a little bit, and I decided, okay, I'm going to get something that goes over it that looks, a little bit better. So we went there, and there was a lot of different things. I remember there was one, this guy's trying to sell me. It says "Death Before Dishonor," and it's like,
Bigger pieces.
yeah, all kind of like marine stuff, and I'm like, I don't know, So it was this bird. It looked like a seagull. It was basically supposed to
It
be
looks
a
like
seagull.
a seagull.
Yeah, and I was with the beach and everything. I said, all right, seagull sounds like a good thing, and I put it on. It was beautiful at the, when I had it. It was different colors and everything.
I still like it.
Now it's just, it's kind of faded, and but that's the story of my tattoo.
It used to be color because it looks all black, like just a silhouette.
Yeah,
of a
it
seagull
actually
now.
had colors and everything. I should probably redo it, and get it really nice. But
You should get a massive tattoo now. Catherine. What else you got to lose?
no. So anyway, let's get back. So let's
Get a sleeve.
get a sleeve. Let's talk about your race, because that shirt's very interesting. That shirt I would thought would be from a lifeguard event. So was this put on by lifeguards? Like that's 2 oars. So what is this? Oh, what does it say now?
Nautical Ocean City themed shirt.
OCNJ races. So there was a
Tell me about what the race was.
there was a half marathon, there was a 10-mile, and there was a 5K.
And this was at where now?
This was in Ocean City.
Ocean City, New Jersey.
Yeah. But also,
I wonder if that's their emblem for their town.
Why run the 10-mile? Why not just
Yeah, I thought that too while running. Like, why
Yeah.
stop there?
why not? Like, you're pretty much there already. Although that last 3 miles was brutal.
Yeah.
So the weather. I mean, you saw the weather on Sunday. It was nasty.
Yeah.
Pouring rain the whole time. I was freezing cold.
Hard northeast.
So the turnaround was at mile 10, like 3 miles south of where the finish line was. So that last 3 miles was just straight into the wind with like driving rain in your face. And Sean, we were supposed to run it together, but he bailed on me around mile 8.
Oh, you didn't finish it, Sean?
So
I think less than mile 8.
What happened, Sean? You just that was it.
No,
I was.
He finished before me. I finished.
Oh, you when you say bail, he took
did.
off.
Yeah, asshole.
Okay.
The whole month we're like,
Yeah.
oh, we're just gonna finish. We're gonna run together the whole time.
Yeah.
Him, his girlfriend Katie, and Jack, former guest of the show, owner of Spark Player Development. Shout out Jack Van Schoik. We all ran together for the first like 7.5 miles. I started falling back a little bit around like mile 7, and I saw Katie, Sean's girlfriend, look back at me and go, "Hey guys, like, don't you think we should wait for Tyler?" And they go, "Nah." I saw them say, "Nah, we're gonna keep running."
What was
and
your
then they just disappeared.
What was your average time? Do you know?
I ran it at like a 10:30 pace.
What about you guys?
wasn't
I ran
prepared.
it like 9:20.
So you guys were going. Well, I mean,
It was. It's crazy, like because
It was pretty shitty weather.
The
too.
longest run I went on when I was training was about 7.5, 8 miles. That's exactly where I hit my wall in the race.
Yeah.
Like right there was when it was like.
Yeah, you got to train. So I did, not to toot my own horn, and I got to
When are you not tooting your own horn?
So I did a lot of lifeguard competition. I did Ironman. I did a lot of triathlons, but they were short ones. I did a half Ironman down in Maryland, and so it was a 52-mile bike. It was about 14 miles run.
13, yeah.
Yeah, they said 14, and then a 2-mile swim or a mile swim. I don't remember, a mile or 2-mile swim. But I averaged on the run, I averaged 7 30-minute miles. Woo. So that's how, and that's
Damn.
after all that. Yeah, I would do 10-mile runs, and I would, we'd keep them under 8 minutes for sure. But again, that sounds good, but there was guys who I competed with keeping under 6.
I looked at the top times; they were going so fast.
Yeah. And but you have to train. You hit an area where it's a certain amount of time. I forget if it's 2 hours. Where you after that you got to take water, you got to take food, and you have to train through that. You have to learn how to get past that. What you said? What time is about 2 hours? You started to hit the wall. What's 3 hours?
Around like I think we were like an hour and a half in.
But
and also so they were handed like they had like water stations and stuff, and they had these packets, these like gel energy sugar packets, and we get back up onto the boardwalk after we just ran over a bridge with a crazy steep incline.
No, the wind on
And
that bridge was crazy.
Yeah, the wind
everybody
wanting
that
to-
had a hat was just holding their hat while running. Like me too. Like you just had to like make sure it wasn't flying off, otherwise you were gonna lose it.
Yeah,
People were losing
it's
them left
tough.
and right.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
was
so-
it was a bad weather day, but it was fun.
Something about running in that made it easier because you're
Well,
like
it's cool. It's
everyone's
cool.
suffering right now.
Yeah, it's
But,
cool.
So we get back onto the boardwalk, and this was right before I hit my wall, and they're handing out these gel packets, and I grab one, and I'm like, oh yes, this is gonna hook me up for the rest of the race.
I was
rip it
expecting
open.
a totally different flavor too
Yeah,
than what
yeah.
they had.
I rip it open and I squeeze some into my mouth, and I started dry heaving. It was so disgusting. It was like this. It was like caramel, like
Yeah, they had chocolate, caramel, and vanilla, like the sugar paste.
Oh,
But
and
I would have liked something like a fruity flavor, like something like
yeah,
energizing.
That moment is when I broke mentally,
Yeah.
and I was just like, I'm not keeping up with these.
Well,
guys.
I tell you, we when I was doing my training, one thing that we didn't do is like when we did the long haul, especially with the bikes, we would have some supplement. We would have water and we would have bars. But we would do 10-mile runs all the time. We didn't drink at all, and we just maybe have a glass of
Yeah,
water.
my uncle said for football they used to not hydrate but just take salt packets.
Yeah, I never did that.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
that seems a little
It was
outdated.
Yeah, I mean it definitely was.
I think that people who could do that kind of distance and do that kind of mileage, are genetically, I don't want to say predisposed, but have the genetics where you don't dehydrate a lot. You don't need a lot of water.
All right, what do you think?
I was always like that. I never really needed water. I could go forever and ever and ever.
What's your guess for the pace of the winner on Sunday?
Oh, sub 5s.
Not sub 5s, sub
No.
6.
Oh, okay.
Or I think it was
Sub 5 would be
5:40 something. I mean, these guys.
Yeah.
These guys were running faster than I could even run a 1 mile.
Yeah.
I would collapse
Yeah.
and die if I ran a mile in
Yeah.
under 5 minutes and 30 seconds.
Well, I tell you what, how it was is funny
and
because
I've been playing soccer my whole life.
I trained with Joe Casino for years. So Joe in the water, 500. I could tell you exactly. Joe did a 520, for 500. I did
pretty
I
ridiculous,
did so yeah, he did under 530. So maybe 520. Maybe he went even maybe 519. Me with a 500, same thing. 630 was the best I ever did. For a mile, like a mile sprint, could definitely do 630. He'd do 530. So it would get slower. But I could average. Always when I ran. We were going for about 7:30-minute miles. Joe would slow down a little bit, and I would what's it called, drag him a little bit. But that was a long time ago. And but you have to train if you're going to do that kind of stuff. You have to do 3-4 hour runs, and really, get into it. But that's good that you did it.
Yeah,
That's important. It's fun. You had a good time.
I never hit a point where I was laboring with my breathing. It was just the pain in like.
Yeah, but you
my
were doing
back
10 minutes. I mean,
and-
come on.
and
I
my
know.
knee. No, but like this is what I'm saying. It wasn't like my breathing couldn't keep up with it. It was my body.
Yeah,
my
yeah.
body
You weren't
simply could
trained
not-
right.
Yeah.
Your bones hurt you.
I hadn't gone on any long enough runs to prepare my. And I have a friend that I deliver pizzas with that I was talking to about this, and that's exactly what he said was going to happen.
Yeah.
He's like, you're going to feel fine, you're going to be moving,
Yeah.
but around mile 8, mile 10,
Yeah.
you're going to start feeling it, and you're going to realize like, shit, my muscles just aren't conditioned to this type of beating.
We used to train like this where we would actually time ourselves and take out, say we're going to run a 10-mile run training. We would take out the first couple miles, at a certain pace. We would, because I had a tendency to run too fast. So, you had a, you would come out, and there's different strategies how to do it. Like, I don't remember, but I remember there was one race in Seaside Park where they actually had a meter. Every mile there was a count off, so you could see where you're at. And, like I remember I ran it with this one guy, and our first mile was like 6:30. The second mile was maybe 6:40, and then we kind of settled into, 7:30s, So I don't know if that's the best strategy, but when you train, there's all kinds of ways around it. We used to do a lot of track work. We would go to the track to the high schools and do quarters and things like that, and then distance. So to try to sprint. So it's a lot if you really want to be competitive. I tried to be competitive. We were trying to be in the top 10 all the time, and you never know what could happen.
Yeah, I
at
thought
that
we were
point.
just trying to finish, but
You're
I think,
trying-
Sean, I think Sean had other plans.
Sean, what was your? You did 8. You said 8s,
No, I did it in 9:20.
9:20.
No,
What was your average times though? You did it in not. No, how many
that
hours?
was my average time. I did it in like
9:20.
2:01.
Okay. So I had a buddy of mine did a true triathlon, and the New York Marathon, and I was talking to him about it, and what these guys do, a lot of people they run it and they take like 10, 15 minute break.
There were people that ran it and then would go back down the boardwalk and like were running past like the people that really won the race.
Oh,
they just didn't stop
They're
running.
ridiculous. Yeah. When you see people who run like that,
and you see those people like they'll get there before the race, do a 3-4 mile warm up run,
listen,
just to
watch
get
the
going.
Olympics next time you watch. When they have the Summer Olympics, you could watch the marathon, and you could watch it in one sitting. It takes them like 20 minutes, ridiculous time. They're all doing. I mean, I'm
I
exaggerating,
think
but
the record is like just under 2. I think they just broke the 2-minute marathon, 2-hour marathon. Nike partnered with some guy from Africa somewhere.
But it's
they
like a
gave him
sprint.
They gave him these shoes like specially
Yeah.
designed to shave that I think it was called like the Nike Next 2% or something.
Yeah, the Zoom Fly 2%.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah,
Did
but
you
you-
hear about
and
these, Kachmar? These shoes?
These shoes are insane.
They make you run 4 or 5% quicker than you would otherwise. So
Yeah,
every 100 steps, you're 5 steps ahead of where you would be.
yeah.
Do you think that's cheating compared to people that used to?
So look at these freaking things.
Because I'm on board with this. Like people also complain about golf that like the clubs
Well,
are
with the
too good for
swimmers,
the
they have
sport.
different. They have different
the laser
uniforms.
suits and for when Michael
Yeah.
Phelps
thing
broke.
is like this is sport, right? I mean, look at these things.
Yeah. I
no,
think
the tech suit, the lasers. Michael Phelps, the year of the Beijing, he wore the laser suit, and they banned it after that Olympics because him and all of the Americans, I think probably everybody was wearing them. They banned the laser suit because they broke all the swimming records that year.
You can only wear those things like a couple times, right?
Well, then they're just not as effective as they would be. But you can just keep wearing them.
They're
How about
wicked
if
tight.
they let us
Yeah.
use a C-bob? It's the only way we could stay with them. Anyway, yeah, they're neat.
What do you guys think about where like one of the things I've thought about in terms of how technology and sport is intersecting more and more, like
I'm for it.
who's gonna be the last all natural athlete?
When was there ever
You know what
an
I mean?
all-natural athlete?
Yeah, but eventually
Roman
some
Empire.
dude's
Yeah,
gonna
but like as soon as you
some
put
dude's
on
gonna
shoes,
show up
you
with
were having an advantage.
some kind of optic implant, right? That makes him or her see better. The next thing you know, we're gonna have whatever. Like imagine you have like a contact that gives you a heads up display and you're on the soccer field.
There's
And
actually
it
one
just
for swimming.
and it just shows you all the paths. That's a massive advantage.
Oh yeah.
So
like
once
an AI that tells you like
so
where to dribble or
once
pass.
yes, once something like that is introduced, do we have to create an entire new division? Like what do people start watching?
Don't worry about it. That ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, that's absolutely
right.
gonna happen.
Right. Well, not right. Well, right now, what's happening is the transgender stuff.
But this is a similar argument, right? Do we make a whole another division for trans athletes? Do we make a whole another division for
AI.
biohacking athletes or augmented athletes? Like, say there was the argument with the dude that ran in the Olympics with the prosthetic legs. It's the same thing,
Yeah, that
right?
dude like didn't he end up like killing his wife? Like insane.
I think
Like,
yeah,
weirdo.
Yeah, what was that guy's
He
name?
also lost in the
Andreas or something. No.
He lost in the
Pedreos. What was is something? But you talk about all of that, and the prosthesis, the steroid, the augmentation. Look at Armstrong. With what he did.
Oscar.
Oscar.
He lied his ass
How do you
off. That's
pronounce
what
his
he
name?
did.
Oscar.
Pistorius, Oscar Pistorius, whose legs were amputated below the knees when he was an infant, gained worldwide fame by competing at high level using carbon fiber prosthetic blades.
Yeah, but he's in the so it's in a different division. It's
but they
Paralympic,
let him run in the
understand.
regular Olympics,
Yes.
didn't they?
Yeah, but he ain't gonna beat. No, he ain't gonna beat that.
No, he actually lost in the Paralympics too. Like some other Paralympian beat him.
But getting back to your, there's always going to be.
Oh, here you go. The double amputee amazed legion of fans with his world-class sprinting times before he shocked them by killing his girlfriend.
There's the ad.
On Valentine's Day 2013.
Yeah, I don't know.
Damn.
I don't know if that was.
They
I think he. I
They
think
called
they.
him the Blade Runner. That's
I think
pretty
they
good.
let him off. But getting back to your asking, there's always been people will always try to augment things and get an edge up, and there's in sports cheating has been around a long time.
Yeah, if you're not cheating, you're not trying hard enough.
Right, and
So
there's a lot
it's
of things.
literally
So if you
that
look, there's a great there's a lot of good movies, but there's one by Ken Burns called Baseball, and I don't like Ken Burns' politics, but anyway, he's a great director and producer. And there's one called Baseball. And if you watch this, it's the beginning of baseball, where it started and how it progressed. And if you look at it,
Is this about the? I don't know. Is baseball about the doping, or is it about
no,
the
it's about
Moneyball?
just the whole history of baseball, the whole history of baseball,
Okay.
right? But what's interesting about it is that when you watch it, and you'll see like Babe Ruth, right? Babe Ruth, even to this day, I don't follow it, but
I'm not a big baseball guy.
he became the all-time home run
guy
hitter
for a while.
Okay, for a while. And what happened was, exact time that he became the all-time hitter was when they stopped using dirty balls. In other words, before that, you'd have a ball, the baseball, and guys would spit on it. They put tobacco to get it dirty, and the ball, they would use the same ball the whole game, and to the point where, by the end of the game or middle of the game, you couldn't even see the damn thing. Well, what they started when Babe Ruth came up, and that had anything to do with him. It's just though he was there at the good time, the talent at that time, and they started using clean balls. As soon as the ball got dirty, they would give a new ball, and that gave him an edge. Gave all those guys an edge. But you would,
Because you could see the white, right?
Right. So there's a lot of things that also come along, technologies or different things that give these people a hedge up. And not saying taking anything away from Babe Ruth.
Yeah, I believe in like all
but
but
the doping,
progressing and non-progressing.
Yeah,
in sports.
everybody knew that these guys were doing steroids. I mean, back in the day, the weightlifters were using it all over the place. Now I don't know about guys like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, he was on it.
Yeah,
He was juicing his tits.
But think about it. If you're a baseball player, right? If you're a baseball player,
Have you ever seen the video of Schwarzenegger talking about?
Coming while lifting.
Yeah.
so
You've never seen that?
no. But if you think about it, if you are making millions and millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, tens of millions, and you take steroids and you can
No,
make
it's
more.
in your contract that if you win, you get an extra $2 million. It's an extra $2 million.
But anyway, getting back to the whole premise of your argument here about augmentation. Yeah, but I just let's go back. So you guys ran this. You got a beautiful shirt there, and I'm glad you guys did that. So now you next time if you want, you could train. You could do a little bit more or better.
I'm gonna do it on prosthetic legs.
I'm gonna buy the percentage
So-
Nike shoes.
So why don't we talk about? Let's go to whiteboard. What are we talking about? So can we go back?
Hurricane Ian.
So let's talk about. We want to talk about how this hurricane is terrible. Right now we're in New Jersey. Today is Tuesday, and this Ian is just dissipated now, but it's just sitting on top of us. It's been raining for how many days now?
I think it's gonna rain a whole week too.
It's
So-
been raining since Saturday. It's
Saturday.
gonna continue through Thursday.
Friday, I think it started. So we're getting shitty. So it hit us up here. It's been off the coast of Carolinas. It was supposed to go out to sea. It went a little bit, but we've been just friggin' northeaster like bad, and it just doesn't stop. And it's pouring for like three days now, 4 days. So we're getting major flooding up here. But we wanted to try to do a little research about lifeguards. We tried to get to communicate with the lifeguards in down in Fort Myers and Sanibel. Well, we got some video, but not much. We're going to try to, if anybody's down there and they want to communicate with us, give us a heads up of what you guys did to prepare for it, and what from a lifeguard's perspective, we'd love to get that. And just drop us an email at Dr. Kachmar. Can you put that up real quick? Dr. Kachmar at Comcast.net.
Hit the camera, Kachmar.
DR Kachmar at iCloud.
DR Camera. it doesn't matter.
DR Camera?
DR Camera. DRKACHMAR at iCloud.com, and send us an email. But we'd love to get you on the show.
Yeah, you can also hit us up at lifeguardsoffduty@gmail.com if that's easier to remember.
Bazinga.
So let's show what do we guys. We got some kind of not bad footage. Show that one with the
These
there's
lifeguards
like
here.
yeah. Just play that one. See, just mute it if you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll watch it. What's this?
Let's see what this.
Preparing
one is
for
here.
deadly rip currents.
So this one was I forget what beach it is. Let me see. It was the Gulf Coast, Alabama. This was Alabama, and you really can't hear anything here. We could probably, as long as there's no music, you could probably play the volume if you want.
Yeah, it's not
No.
playing for some reason.
No.
I don't know. This is fickle.
It's
We live.
sound effects movie. You got it.
So what's happening?
It's muted.
You say lifeguards will be on despite being short-staffed. That's right. Greg Lifeguards will be in full force just in case rip currents are bad this season. This is our area, also the staff. So we had a little bit less staff this year. We have one this summer. We had less staff this summer. Adequately staffed for what will come.
If you hit mute movie and say mute right there, No,
Saluting us.
got right there.
No, that's-
Okay. Anyway, they the
Kachmar,
whole.
when was this?
I just put this up.
Look at the
couple,
date.
a couple days. Yesterday, day before, just before the storm hit
more.
them.
Show more.
Show more. Imagine this is from like 3 years ago.
No.
The water doesn't look
no.
rough, is why I'm asking.
No, that's Alabama.
Oh, okay.
That's way, Alabama. I mean, from this thing hit Fort Myers. Alabama's way over.
Why is this not
It's Gulf
dated?
Shores. I went there. This is Gulf Shores, Alabama, and it's a famous place. There's a restaurant on the beach called the Pink Pony. So
Pink
Gulf
Pony.
Shores.
There was a restaurant in Rehoboth Beach where I used to go called the Purple Parrot.
There you go. Yeah, it's very similar. So they're just talking about. What about show the other one? There's one other we got. This guy here is talking about stay out of the water.
I think wave height in Jersey hit like
Oh, no,
12
it's
feet.
Yeah. What's that, Sean?
I think wave height is like 12 feet or was 12 feet yesterday.
I just looked at the ocean. It's pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty big. I'd say at least 10 foot.
What was this other article you wanted to
It's
bring?
just
I
showing
couldn't
about
find
the.
it.
It was just the lifeguards pulling a stand off the beach.
Oh, yeah, the jetty stand. I saw this too.
I didn't, let me. What should I look up? You guys keep talking.
Jetty lifeguard stand, Miami, Ian.
They were just pulling the stands off. So we when we get ready
This?
for when we
Hit
get
news.
I don't know if it
Like
doesn't matter.
news
Yeah.
on the
When we get a storm coming up.
That's,
Yeah,
the
that's
stand hit. Find an article
yeah,
This
don't-
is the stand that got.
that they were pulling back, or I saw videos of it.
Yeah, you lost it. Anyway, we get ready. We get our stands off the beach. We get our boats off the beach, and what we do is we double red flag it, and we don't let anybody in the water, and we have police on the beach. So this was a bad one. So anyway,
Yeah, so I have an article here of some aerial photos that show the before and after damage along the Florida coast. So it hit the Florida's west coast, right? Where it,
yeah, Sanibel. I've been to Sanibel. Ever been to Sanibel?
No.
Sanibel and Captiva Island. So it's just south of Fort Myers. And-
apparently it made landfall in the exact same spot that Hurricane Andrew did in like 91 or something, like back in the 90s.
yeah, I'm very sure there's been a lot of hurricanes over that area. If you look at these models that NASA has of like thousands of hurricanes. I don't know how they know it, but they know it. And
I saw a crazy photo of the day it hit landfall of Tampa Bay, and the entire bay was drained, actually.
yeah,
I don't know exactly how that worked.
because the wind
but
blows the water
the
out.
storm
The wind,
just
it
blew
blows the water
right
out,
of the
and then
bay.
it comes back.
It was crazy looking.
Not to compare, because every one is unique. But people remember back in was it 2017? We had Sandy hit here.
2012.
2012, excuse me. 17 was
10
Irma.
year anniversaries coming
Right,
up.
yeah, 2012. Right, and we had damage that was on that scale. Now we lost a bridge. Manalocan Bridge was completely shot into bottom. Manalocan, the ocean met the bay, and it opened up an inlet.
Orly Beach too.
Orly Beach, yeah. So we had, I don't know, it takes about 5 years. I'm looking at the damage here. If you go back and look at Sandy, we had similar damage. I'm not saying, I don't want to compare, everything. We didn't have as many people die.
Oh, look at this. See this block
Yeah.
right here?
What's
It's
happening?
gone.
Freaking completely leveled.
Yeah, gone.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But we could empathize with people down there. We went
Yeah,
through this. I mean,
this
it
too.
destroyed our beaches. It destroyed our boardwalk. It destroyed. There was 100,000 boat claims in New Jersey and New York.
Wow.
I mean, it hit. You got to remember that storm whacked Long Island. Also, they got hammered up there, and we're more populated than.
Look at like the runs that are on the beach right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just cut everything.
Like every 100 yards, it looks like there's just like big carves into the on
Yeah.
the streets. It just carves into.
Yeah.
Saw a video of like an 18-foot storm surge. That's like
Yeah.
unfathomable.
Yeah. Yeah. I was down in.
Look at this though. This is
Yeah.
see that audio's not working either. I don't
Yeah.
know. We'll figure that out another time. But this is the like these are palm trees.
Oh wow, yeah.
Look at that.
There's just like a running.
Well, what happens?
river
Here's
through
what
the
happened
streets
there.
we're
Here's what
looking at.
happened on Sanibel. Listen to me. Here's what happened on Sanibel and Captiva. It's not only not the ocean, but basically the Gulf met the bay. The island gets completely. It's like a sandbar. It's the waters. Now you're a sandbar, and that's what happened.
That's what
That's what happened in New
Seaside.
Jersey
Yeah.
with Sandy. We had old inlets. So there's a place called Herring Avenue,
That was
And-
Cranberry Inlet, right?
Yeah, and that closed up in 1865. Well, when Sandy hit, it opened it up again, and the ocean ran all the way from the ocean to the bay, which is about I don't know, like less than a mile, right?
Yeah.
You had Manilokin, which was another
500 or
inlet.
600 yards.
No, more than that, way more than that. About a half a mile. Manilokin, same thing. The ocean met the bay, and it dug a hole about 30 feet down, and I don't know, maybe 100 yards wide. I mean, it opened up an inlet. They had a lot of talk about leaving it open. So, we had a direct hit too. So, it's going to take them 5 years to get back to,
Yeah, people always see the
look at-
videos when it happens, but like, yeah,
Look
this
at
is
how
gonna
high
affect
that water
families
is
for-
compared to the shot right after. Look at this. Boom.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, they just got, and water. Remember about water. A gallon of water, 1 gallon, which is, if you look at me, I mean, it's about this much, weighs 8 pounds.
It's about a gallon of milk.
Gallon of milk, 8 pounds. Can you imagine all that water? I mean, here's the thing.
And the stress it puts on the infrastructure.
I didn't realize this. This is it. Listen to this. And I'm thinking about the statistics now. Remember when they had the tsunami?
In Japan?
Japan, right? And the water was moving about 1 or 2 knots. It was very slow. But a wall of water about 5 foot, right, moving has the force of like 150 mile an hour wind or 180 mile an
It
hour
doesn't
wind.
even matter how slow it's moving.
No, it's just
it's gonna get where it's
it's
going.
it's like a bulldozer. The water is like a bulldozer. It just pushes everything down. That's water. And then what it does too, and I saw this down in the Caribbean. It's amazing what it does.
Wow.
It undermines, right, the ground,
roads from
and
the
then
bottom, yeah.
concrete and everything just collapses. So it's amazing.
Well, I had an argument one time with a friend who was saying that
Really, you? I can't believe that.
mountains are the most impressive force of nature.
Well,
And
it's
I was
uplift,
like,
uplift.
You are totally wrong. Like
Well.
one day,
That's
those
thousands
mountains-
of years to happen.
and one day those mountains are going to be ground to dust by the ocean.
Well, that's true.
You know?
So what you have in a hurricane? So
Look at these boats.
Right,
Oh my
yeah.
god!
But remember, you saw this in Tortola. We had it here. The boats were lined up. But you go back. So anyway, with a hurricane, you got the wind, right? So some hurricanes are big time wind. Now I'm going to make a point about Irma, and maybe this hurricane. I didn't hear the reports yet. Irma, what was really made Irma so bad was that there was hundreds of tornadoes associated with it. Now I don't know if there was
they
hurricane.
were talking about tornadoes in Florida.
Yeah, that's what. So you got the hurricane, that's the wind's blowing, and then you got tornadoes. So you got the wind. The second thing you
Look
get,
at those boats.
yeah, the second thing you get with a hurricane, not all the time, not all hurricane, is a surge. What that is as the hurricane approaches, that's what happened with Sandy. It pushed a ton of water into our area, and everything floods. We didn't have a lot of wind, so you got the wind, which is really could be a bad thing. You got the surge, right? And then you got just the rain, which causes flooding. Now, it's not so, we have it bad here, but like in Tortola, where there's 2,000 foot or 1,500 foot mountains, and that rain comes down, that forms like a river, like the Colorado River, and just cuts everything up. So it's pretty crazy, how it works. But I can imagine the lifeguards now, because they're still lifeguarding down there all along, the Florida coast. And I guess they're getting into their off season, but there's going to be a lot of rip currents and everything.
Yeah, this article says Florida faces grim reality. Hurricane Ian is deadliest storm in state since 1935.
Yeah.
The hardest hit areas have been described as resembling a war zone, and
Yeah.
Ian's death toll has climbed above 100 as rescue crews go door to door to search for survivors and help in recovery.
Yeah.
Nearly a week after Hurricane Ian obliterated communities in Florida, the death toll continues to rise as rescue crews go door to door. While hundreds of thousands remained without power on Tuesday and roadways were still flooded, construction on a makeshift bridge broke ground to help those stranded on Pine Island, one of several barrier islands that suffered the full force of Ian's wrath. How long was Seaside closed for?
About 2-3 months. They closed everything, not Seaside, the whole barrier island, which is about 20
You
miles.
had to have
couldn't
those
get
yellow
in?
you had to
No.
have these yellow passes on your
No.
windshield.
That's right.
What-
You had to have residency to
Well,
get
you,
off.
you
right?
you had them.
Well, yeah, but I was in school. So even though I used the excuse of Hurricane Sandy to get out of a lot of classes, I never actually went down and helped clean up.
One of the reasons what happened was this: they had a lot of houses that were blown off the foundation, and the gas lines that were coming out were on fire. So they had like these fires. So what they did, the governor at the time decided to put water. The only way to do it is I don't know if they couldn't get the gas out, but they flooded the gas lines with water.
Yeah, because if they just shut them off, the fire would follow the gas down the pipe.
Is that what it is?
I think so.
So anyway, they destroyed the pipelines. They had to put all new pipes in. The biggest thing, you have to bring electricity. You got to make things safe. So they brought in a whole crew, and they started putting electric in, and new poles and everything. And then, of course, they dug a new gas line. But that took, it was a couple months before everybody was allowed to go back in there. Because you had no water, you had no storage, you had nothing. They couldn't even, the storage system couldn't pump. And it was October, November, December, it was cold. But I think it wasn't until, first year. I could be wrong on those dates. But the thing that was amazing with Sandy is how long, and they're going to have the same thing. You remember Barnegat Bay, there were so many boats that sunk in the bay and cars that got thrown into the bay that there was oil slicks coming up. They had people they hired to go in there and take cars and boats out of the bay. You couldn't even run a boat in the bay, which is huge. The bay, bay's, I don't know how many square miles, because you could hit something. There was a lot of low areas where these cars were sunk. That took a long time. We're just, I think, it says 10 years. Then there was a big fire too, so it wasn't a good thing. I feel bad for the people down there, but I can't believe how many people. There's a lot of people died, which is really sad.
Yeah, that was the biggest death since 1935 in Florida.
Yeah, I guess there's the ones that didn't move, didn't stay with their houses.
While we're talking about tragedies, did you hear about this?
Oh, the soccer, that's your field. Yeah, that's your thing.
I
happens like every so many years you get a stampede. Talk about that.
We talked about the Hillsborough disaster, which actually I was surprised you knew about in Liverpool in like the 80s.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what happened here, but I heard that this says 125 2 days ago, 125 people killed. I think it might be more than that. But
did they cancel games because of this?
They're saying CNN is reporting at least 125 killed in Indonesia soccer stadium crush, which to me reads like a very similar situation to what happened in Hillsborough, where they used to have these standing sections. So it's basically just a slanted concrete bowl that you stand in.
Yeah,
but it was all fenced in, right? Because
similar to a lawn area in a baseball game.
Yeah. But it's all fenced in because you have like away supporter sections, and you don't want them interacting with the home supporters because
this happens.
Fans can get violent. No, seriously.
Yeah.
So what happened was in Hillsborough, somebody left a turnstile open, and people who didn't have tickets just started pouring into the stadium. And the people at the front at that fence just all got crushed against the fence.
This is the 80s.
This was in the 80s. So this looks like something similar. So we'll pull it up. But and apparently like the police were involved in shooting tear gas into the stands. I mean,
well, if you read that article there, it says after police fired tear gas causing chaos. A chaotic scene. So
let me read a little bit.
Maybe they had a lot to do with what happened.
So this is ESPN reporting on it. At least 125 fans have been killed at a soccer match in Indonesia after police fired tear gas, causing chaotic scenes where fans were trampled upon and suffocated, making it one of the deadliest sports events in history. The death toll was previously confirmed to be 174, but local authorities have reduced the number. Okay, there you go. So that clears up what I said before. Attention immediately focused on the police use of tear gas, and witnesses described that police beat them with sticks and shields before shooting canisters directly into the crowds. The president of FIFA, which is the organizing body of world football, for anyone that doesn't know, called the deaths at the stadium a dark day for all involved in football and a tragedy beyond comprehension. While President Joko Widodo ordered an investigation of security procedures. While FIFA has no control over domestic games, it has advised against the use of tear gas at soccer stadiums. No shit. Saturday's game is already among the world's worst crowd disasters, including the 1996 World Cup qualifier between Guatemala and Costa Rica in Guatemala City, where over 80 died and over 100 more were injured. On April 2001, more than 40 people are crushed to death during a soccer match at Ellis Park in Johannesburg, South Africa. Violence broke out after the game ended at Kanjuruhan I think I nailed that. Stadium in Malang, East
Sounds
Java.
good to me.
On Saturday evening with hosts Arema FC suffering a 3-2 defeat. Disappointed with their team's loss, thousands of supporters of Arema, known as Aramania, reacted by throwing bottles and other objects at players and soccer officials. Witnesses said fans flooded the pitch and demanded the team answer while they succumbed to their first home. So they got crazy. The riot police stepped in, started shooting tear gas, and it got even worse.
Well, it's the whole thing about de-escalating. You're supposed to de-escalate stuff. It's tragedy. So our prayers go out to those people.
Yeah.
But
like you said, like this happens all the time, and it seems like even though
you get these in where there's a fire in a bar or something.
Yeah.
And it's not even so bad, but people die trampling each other out.
It seems like you always hear about shit like this happening at soccer games, and it could just be because it's the most popular sport in the world, so you have like a much larger sample size for this stuff to be happening at. We know, American sports are a lot more regulated. There's a lot more of a police presence.
But I tell you what I think you make a good point about is the stadium, the construction of the stadium, and also the security. Like, I mean, I've been at big stadiums, and it's almost impossible. I mean, they have wide areas. It's easy to get out in case of emergency. And I think that, I was just reading this thing and watching a documentary about the Roman Colosseum, how well it was constructed, and how easy people could get out. Anyway.
Did you know that was constructed where the speaker, wherever he was speaking, they could hear him in the whole building? That's incredible.
That was,
They, are you sure that's not the amphitheater?
No.
Or both?
The Coliseum had a section that was like dead. Like if you were the speaker and you were talking loud enough there, the whole Coliseum could hear you.
But anyway, let's talk about the storm though, just to finish it up. If any lifeguards, I really want you guys to send us an email and tell us what your perspective was. The storm down there,
if you had any crazy rescues.
I would bet. I tell you, because they're still. I mean, their season is just about wrapping up now. They go into October, November.
I saw a video where the fire people in whatever fire department. in
fire rescue
in
safety,
Florida was making like a human chain to try and get someone out of the street because he was in like neck deep water in the street. And they pulled him in that way. Yeah.
Well, it's nothing to mess around with. And
nature always wins, baby.
Yeah.
Anything we have ever built will one day be dust.
But
castles made of sand.
Yep, it's just a matter of time.
But it's funny because I was just reading something a couple months ago about lifeguards in Sanibel, and it's just a low key article. Hiring, they were looking for lifeguards, and they were talking about how much they charge or what they pay. So it's just funny, and then this happens. I bet those lifeguards are, maybe hopefully things will get better. They're going to bring in. I was just reading on regard to that. DeSantis is going to bring in the first thing you need to do is get electricity, clear the roads, but they're going to bring in linemen with Chinook helicopters.
Shout out Kenny Doherty.
Yeah,
our friend who's doing that.
So they're going to bring them in, and then the next thing is they got to do that bridge. And they're talking about a temporary bridge. They'll get that. I'm telling you, they will come. They will be. You'll be surprised how quick. I mean, it's not going to be 100% for years and years, but they're gonna ratchet this up. I bet you by next summer you'll have something going on. You'll have temporary things going like we did. We had think about us. They built a new boardwalk. We had temporary headquarters for at least a year or two. Our lifeguard headquarters, right?
That was before our time.
What's that?
It was one.
Us. There was. So Sandy happened in October of 2012.
Right. That next summer.
So that next summer there was a temporary headquarters.
Right.
No, we didn't have any boats.
Right.
And then I came in the following summer, and the headquarters had been repaired by then.
Because that's good. You make a good point. We had our stands at the other end of the beach, on the other side of the island. All our stands were destroyed. All our boats were destroyed. Well, we had some, but
the thing is,
they got picked up and taken off. We didn't have inside.
It wasn't because you were saying before, just like the pressure of the water sitting on top of things, right? It wasn't even the storm surge that really caused the most damage on the west side of the island.
Yeah.
On the west side of the island, it was just the bay creeping, and creeping and creeping and it wasn't anything like getting knocked off its foundation. It was just this slow rise of water that just causes so much damage.
But if you take a boat or a stand and you float it in the water and it's jumping up and down, rocking up and down, hitting stuff, it grinds up over time. It's like a slow grind. And we had, I don't think we had too many boats left over. A few boats survived, and I don't know if any stands survived. We found one of our boxes. We have these big boxes, as you well know, the audience. we have a box that's probably 5 foot by 3 or 4 foot wide, and we put our it's on the beach, and we put our stuff in there, equipment, cans, and everything. Well, we had them stored, and one was found like 3 miles, 4 miles across the other side of the bay near near Tom's River. So we actually
Didn't one of our boats wash up across the bay?
Yeah. So but they're going to go through a lot, and we would like to again definitely talk to some lifeguards, see what they have to say about what's going on down there.
We hope everyone's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And remember here, I was telling you, we had 100,000 boats were damaged. New York City, the subways flooded. I mean, it impacted. See, down there you have a lot of people, and it's interesting.
I forgot about New York City during Sandy.
It got hammered. Long Island. That storm, if you guys remember, it hit, and Long Island. There's communities just like our beach. They got decimated. I mean, they got hammered. Boats and towns, and we should go. I don't want to bring it up. I mean, we don't have to. But if people want to know, it was pretty bad.
We could do something for the 10th anniversary of Sandy.
We should.
Yeah, we should.
But no, that doesn't take away from the people down there. I'm just saying is we could commiserate with you. We went through it. It sucks. It disrupts your life. I had friends who they had houses. Now think about these houses. These people who lived on those islands there. They got no house now. Now they could have money and everything, but where are they going to go live? Where are they going to go? Like I had a friend who, the guy was in his 60s, and him and his wife went to go live in their parents' house because their house was destroyed. And you have to wait for insurance. You can't build a new house that quick. And so many people.
Everyone else is going to try to be building a new house at the
or
exact same
renting
time.
out. There was no places to rent, and then so you work in the local area. And then for me, my office, I had 3 offices at the time. We didn't see patients for weeks and weeks and weeks. We had no electricity. My one office, I don't think we had electricity for maybe 3 weeks. Couldn't see patients without electricity. So it was a tough thing. It cost a lot of money. It was a big thing. Those people, where they're going to live, and then the infrastructure, like you said, gas lines, electric, water lines, and then how much sand. They're probably going to have to do replenishment. Bring in the what do you call it? The Corps of Engineers. I mean, they got a long way.
Well, just like something like this makes you stop and think about how fragile our infrastructure really is. And also like imagine you're in Florida in like the year 1800 and something like this happens. Like you have no explanation for this insane weather that just shows
they
up.
knew they knew it was a storm.
You gotta have an idea that during this time of year, we get hurricanes, but you're not gonna know like a week in advance. It's just gonna show up one day. And you're gonna be screwed.
There was a hurricane that hit Texas. I forget when it was. It killed a lot of people, and there was one. So you've had big storms, and like you said, it wasn't the weather forecasting that you have nowadays, but it's Mother Nature is unbelievable, and. I mean, like I said, I saw it firsthand with Irma down in the Caribbean. I've never seen anything like that in my life. And I saw Sandy here, but it was very similar. I saw the whole island of Tortola. Every palm tree was knocked down. St. Martin.
And Sandy wasn't even a Category 1. They called that a superstorm.
Yeah, I think that was like a tax thing. I think that was like to try. No, seriously, I think that was to help people who didn't have hurricane insurance.
No, you know what happened with Sandy? Sandy was an interesting storm, because it was very similar to the other storm, which was called The Perfect Storm. There's a book written about it, a movie written about it. And what
That's
happened?
One where they go fishing.
Yeah. What happens typically is in our area, weather moves from the west to the east predominantly. Now you get these hurricanes that come up the coast, and they can come, from the east to the west. But a lot of times, as they approach the United States, they get pushed. They get pushed out to sea. They get pushed. Sandy came in, and because the way it was, it stalled and it retrograded. So it actually went inland. So it came up, and then it spun in towards us and caused a huge surge. And that's what it was. It wasn't even that bad of a storm, like you said. I don't think it was. I don't know what it was, hurricane, class 1. But because it came in on us, it brought in. So what hurt us was the surge. The water rose up, and then what happened is it blew through the Barrow Islands, filled up the back bays, and the back bays stayed flooded for months, a while, as opposed to like
And it's
there-
happening in Florida now too.
right. So now if you, Irma down in where I was in the Tortola, British Virgin Islands, it wasn't any surge. It was a quick hurricane. It was 6 hours, 185 mile an hour, sustained winds one way, 6 hours the other way. How do I know that? I have friends who were there who would, they were watching their watch. They knew every second. And then they shifted. They went to another area. But what they said this was the worst there. It was not the surge, even the flooding, but was the friggin' wind and the tornadoes. And you could see in Tortola, there'd be like houses that weren't too bad because they're like, some of those houses have 3 foot thick walls. But what happened is the roofs were gone and the windows were gone and the shit inside was all banged around because it was tornadoes. And it was interesting. Very few people died the day of the hurricane. It was during the day, and that's why it's interesting that so many people died in Florida. You would think that they wouldn't, but I think what it is, the buildings weren't built real well in Florida. A lot of these new codes came in just recently, and a lot of people, you have the right to stay in your home, and they
did,
and they're dead.
Florida man.
Yeah.
But yeah, we like Sean said, our thoughts go out to everyone affected by hurricane.
Yeah.
And it's
Well, I think they'll come back, but it's going to be years, and it's tough. But it just goes to show you we don't have control. Your life could change on a dime. So, but everybody, okay, what else you want to talk about?
I got like 10 minutes left.
Yeah, you got this
Well,
quiz
let's
for
do.
us,
Okay,
Kachmar?
so we have a quiz now. You guys. So here's the thing. Everybody out there, these guys give me a quiz. So I have a quiz for them. Now,
But you didn't make this quiz. You found.
no,
this
I
quiz.
found it. This is an easy one. If you don't get this, I'm done.
We'll
I'm,
be
I'm-
fine.
So again, I'm gonna put the quiz up. You do one at a time. So this is a quiz.
American history.
So
Can you answer all
can you?
5 questions?
Okay. So I'll ask you.
2012.
So what year was the Declaration of Independence signed?
1776.
Yeah, it's good because it shows you. So okay, that's good. Hit that. What is the capital of the United States?
DC.
Right. You know what
I
it
was
is
gonna
though?
say
District
Miami.
of
Listen,
Columbia.
listen. This article says that half the people asked couldn't answer this.
Did you get this off Facebook?
Yeah, it was. The guy went out there. We got to do this in the summertime. Listen, in the summer, we're going to go on the boardwalk and we're going to start asking
Ask people
people
these questions.
these questions. But here's the thing, though. If you show them, if you just ask the question, that's one thing. If you show them answers, like give them chances, it's like easy.
We should, we should ask them what a rip current is.
Yeah. How many stars are on the American flag?
50, baby.
Yeah. So you know that. Keep going. What state is the Liberty Bell in?
Pennsylvania.
That could be a little hard for some people there. And the Statue of Liberty was a gift from what country?
France.
Yeah.
France.
But they had this where they said like half the people didn't know any of these answers.
I think you
we
got
crushed it,
clickbaited,
right?
Kashmar.
Yeah, I think we
you got clickbaited.
yeah.
Oh, wait.
Because look, because now you got to put your email in for the.
No, I don't. Yeah, I passed it. Yeah.
Let's see if we can find something
A little more.
a little more challenging. All right, what is the first 4th of July celebration? Wait, what was the first 4th of July celebration to use fireworks? Ooh.
Okay, so I think it was.
I could tell you right.
No, so when was DC burned down by the British?
1812.
I want to go 1876.
Yeah, I think
centennial.
it would be 1876.
Why?
I don't know why. I think it's after the Washington D.C. was burned down.
I'm
I'm with you, Tyler.
Catch, what's your guess?
Yeah.
First time fireworks were used for the 4th of July.
I know they had fireworks. I mean,
China
they had
started
missiles
fireworks.
and
They always
everything.
had fireworks.
Listen, I'm gonna just go different.
With
I'm gonna
us.
go 1799.
All right.
All right, we're going to go 1876.
Oh, you know what? You're right. You know what? 1876 is
This
the
quiz.
100 year. Is the 100 year? That's probably
Oh,
right.
yeah.
It's the 100 year.
The centennial.
Yeah.
1777. Wow.
We were always celebrating with fireworks.
Saw the
boys.
first organized
Wow.
celebration with fireworks in Philadelphia.
Wow.
You know,
That's a
Ben
tough one.
Franklin wanted to make Philadelphia the capital.
He also wanted to
and
go.
Well, it was for a
the
while.
turkey?
No,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it was for a short amount of time. I think it was. Now let me ask you this though.
Do you know that
Let- wait,
Jefferson,
let me-
Jefferson
wait.
wanted to abolish slavery in the Declaration of Independence, but South Carolina wouldn't sign?
No. So here's one for you. That's very true. Here's you go. When the War of 1812 came, they burnt down. British burnt down Washington D.C. Where was the temporary capital?
Mount Vernon.
No.
Mar-a-Lago.
No.
Portola.
Mar-a-Lago in the safe where Trump keeps all those.
Wait, I know they
FBI
say
documents.
I want to say somewhere in Virginia. I don't know. I'm not so sure.
Mount Vernon? I don't think
No,
so.
no. But let's.
You're asking
We'll
us
have
a
to.
question you don't.
I don't know the
even
answer to. I know it's not. Wasn't Washington D.C. Okay, how
All
many
right,
signatures?
are on the Declaration of Independence? I'm gonna go 26.
26 sounds
that's a
too
nice
easy,
number.
though, right?
No.
gonna
Well,
go
listen.
26.
You had every state. How many colonies
Had
were there?
two. They had two.
I
at
would say
least.
13. Every state, because
No,
every
more than 13, for sure.
26.
More than 13.
No, we had 13 colonies.
I know, but there's more than one representative per state. I think there was. I'm gonna say like 56, but it seems easier.
I'm going to
than-
go with the 13. 56.
56.
We're all
Sean.
wrong.
Ding ding ding.
Included John Hancock, Thomas Jefferson, Benjamin Franklin. So it was everybody who was
Yeah, so
involved.
there was
You're right.
26 in the other people.
What year did the Star-Spangled Banner become the national anthem?
These are not easy ones. This is tough. This is this reminds me of my I had U.S. history. These are the questions that were on my tests. I should have.
Yeah, this isn't the foo-foo bullshit.
What do
you
the
just hit us
rockets
with.
red glare have to do with? Because that's an actual
1812.
battle. So then let's go again.
1812. That was the Star-Spangled Banner became the national anthem.
So let's go
Had to be after-
1865.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say that.
1931,
Ooh.
President Henry Hoover? Herbert Hoover.
Herbert Hoover.
Herbert Hoover signed the public law that officially made the Star-Spangled Banner there.
So the national anthem, Star-Spangled Banner. Wait, we're getting two different things.
Yeah,
here.
there's
Well,
two different songs.
Well, no, it's
Right.
the same thing. The Star-Spangled Banner is the national anthem.
Okay,
It was
yes.
a poem.
We're literally
Right,
reading
right.
It was
question.
a poem that was written, but it sang
Francis
to the tune
Scott
of
Key.
a bar song.
Right, but it's Francis Scott Key. It was the War of 1812.
Yeah.
And Fort Henry was being bombed. We're saying 1813. So that's when it became
1931.
I mean,
Where
1931.
did you get
No,
1813?
No, I'm looking at 18. So go ahead. So that's interesting. But a lot of people think that came from the Revolutionary War,
Yeah, no.
and it's not our national.
I'm
anthem.
ripping James Madison.
All right,
right
this-
off.
Which
This
president
is,
held the first White House 4th of July celebration?
This is my last question. I'm gonna go with James Madison. I bet he liked to party.
I'm going to say George Washington.
Nah.
I'm going to say because
Nah,
they
he didn't live in the White House.
wait.
right?
No, he did.
He
was-
did?
Sure, he
I
did.
don't know.
I would think that the
This
fir-
seems like a much harder patriotic quiz than the other one, though.
Right?
I know, that's a tough
no
one.
one knows this
These
stuff.
are hard.
I would just give George Washington. I'm going to
Abraham Lincoln.
Nah,
He was pretty cool.
Thomas
Thomas
Jefferson.
Jefferson.
Well, okay, he's the second. He was the second. Who was Thomas Jefferson? Was the second
Third.
president, right?
No, John Adams was the second.
All right, boys. I gotta
who-
go
John
do
Adams
soccer.
was for sure the second president.
No, you sure? I thought
For
it was.
sure. I
Sean,
could
you
be
gonna come
wrong.
sit in the
No,
producer
I thought
chair?
it was Jefferson. Wait, we're bad here. I thought it was Washington, Jefferson, Adams.
You might be right. Second
Sound-
president was John Adams.
It was.
Yeah.
Then who was third? Then
I know
Jefferson.
Quincy Adams like the fifth.
All right, that's it. Any more?
Anyway. No, there's more. I gotta
Okay, go. All right, listen, everyone.
just end it here?
Let's
Keep
let me
gotta
get
be
some.
out.
Yeah, we got to get going. So how about?
Everyone, email drkachmar@icloud.com.
Well, get us
I'm
get
moving over.
Sean's the producer now.
John's the producer.
Thanks for listening.
Hang on, Sean.
Follow
get some-
LG.association on Instagram.
Follow, like, share.
If you think we should do more quizzes off the internet, let us know.
Get rid of that for a
We're
minute.
gonna do a logo vote on the Instagram.
We're gonna do a logo vote on the Instagram soon.
So anyway, listen, put the contact information for everybody out there. I'm Dr. Michael Kachmar. We'll give you our contact information. How about send us an email at drkachmar, drkachmar@icloud.com. So it's drkachmar @icloud.com. All right. You could also get me and look at, if you want to talk about medicine, I do have a show. It's called Scrubbing Up with Dr. Michael Kachmar. And you can go to my webpage, which is Jersey Shore Foot and Leg Center. Jersey Shore Foot and Leg Center. We also we're on podcast. We do podcasts. Take care. Be careful.
Stay
on the
dry
rain.
until you actually start playing.
We're on Spotify. Take care. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcast. We're on Twitter, Twitch. We're also on Rumble and Facebook. So give us a shout and check us out. Sean, you want to say anything?
Stay out and stay alive.
Stay out and stay alive, everyone. Take care.